everyone, I'm just doing sound checks. We are going to start on the hour, so we're about 3 minutes away by just doing sound checks in first, okay? Okay, is everyone getting sound now? Can you hear me? It's always really tricky to tell. So hopefully we're all on board. Um, Hi Trish. Just double checking to make sure that the sound is now connected and that we're working okay. Yay! Hi Gail, how are you? I'm down a few members today, so I'm kind of running everything on my own. So we're just trying to see that we've got everything working. I am going to do a few more technical things and then I'm going to be back right on time to say hi to everyone. Hi everyone, thanks so much for joining yet another Hatch live stream. So what we've been doing the last few weeks is we've been starting a little bit early, and thanks so much to Trish and Gail in the chat for helping me do some sound check. That was amazing. And so far today, I can already see we've got people coming in from Alabama. Gail, I'm fairly sure you're from South Australia, and Shireen is in from New Zealand. So thank you so much for joining us all, and as always, thank you so much for coming along to the live streams. I've got a few very exciting things to talk you through today, which I'm really looking forward to. But as always, I love to hear about what you're up to this week, where you're coming in from. That's always really fun to see whereabouts in the world everyone is coming from, and what else we can talk about with all things embroidery. Oh, and Judy's just given me a thumbs up from Texas for the audio, so thank you for that. I think I finally got it sorted out with all of the audios working. So it's a little tricky because you can't actually test it till it's live. So now, starting earlier, we'll all be set. So what we've got happening today is we have got people manning the chat on YouTube at the moment. Facebook we're going to try and get to. Most of the team is either on holidays or in a big meeting, which I thankfully am not in. But I am actually joined behind the scenes today by Mai, who is our head digitizer here at Wilcom. So if you've got any digitizing questions, maybe you can pop them in the chat and she can answer. And maybe if we're super nice to her, we can convince her to come in and do a Q&A with us one day. She's just showing me, giving me big wide eye look at the moment. So we'll see what we can do with today. And we've got people coming in from Virginia and Tennessee. It's so wonderful to see you all coming in. I hope your weather is wonderful. Sydney is definitely on the turn from winter into spring, and which we don't have a very short spring. We very much hit summer with a head-on run. So we've got a few weeks of it being lovely and pleasant, and then it's going to get very, very hot very, very soon. So today's project that we're going to talk about is actually fall inspired though. So it's going to be a really great one for anyone who wants to decorate the home for Halloween coming up. And I know a lot of you will be celebrating Thanksgiving. It's a great one for that. So what you can actually see is you can see it here behind me. It's our lovely leaves. And what we've actually done is we have put them together so that they will actually make a beautiful table runner. So I'm going to show you a picture of how we set it out in our little lunchroom here. And so what you'll actually see is we've done it so that it scatters up the table like as if you've just gone out into the yard, collected some lovely fall foliage and scattered it across your table. So we're going to take you through how we actually did all of that today. But what we actually did was this is a repurposed design from within inside the Hatch Academy. So as many of you know, the Academy is packed filled with lots of things to teach you all about digitizing. But what you can do with some of the projects is you can use the same techniques but end up with a different project at the end. So that's what we've done this week. We've actually worked through one of the projects, tweaked it a little bit and ended up with a different endpoint. So I'm just going to show you where we actually found that in the Academy and which class we're actually going from. And we've got some people in from Cairns today as well. Lovely to see you in. Janelle, I hope you're having a wonderful day in Cairns. So if we look at the Academy, what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down. So this is one side during the Academy. We're going to find the projects tab. So you can click on the projects tab. Now there's a little one here at the top we're going to talk about later, so you can keep that one in mind. I'm going to chat about that one in a little bit later on. Once you go in, keep scrolling down, you can see all the beautiful projects. We're looking for the fall wreath. Once you've got the fall wreath, you can click in and have a look, and what you'll see is all of the curriculum. And the way it's actually laid out is it's step by step to show you how to digitize that, how to stitch it out, and then how to assemble it as well. So you've got all of the step-by-steps there to make that particular wreath, which is very beautiful. But what we thought was, what happens if you wanted something fall inspired, but perhaps you didn't want to make a wreath? So what we have done is we have taken the same principles of all the digitizing that is taught in that class, and now we have applied it to our leaves. So we're going to go through and I'm going to show you how we stitched it out and did all of that. But don't forget, we do have Mai here on the chat. So if anyone does have any extra digitizing questions, it's a really great day to ask extra digitizing questions because we do have our Wilcom head digitizer right here in the room with us. So do ask your extra digitizing questions today. Okay, so we're going to take a look at our stitch out. So here what we have done is we have combined all of the different leaf ideas from that project class inside the Academy, and because we were trying to make many of them, we have combined a lot of them onto our biggest hoop on our 10 needle machine here, and we are stitching them out. So in the actual project, it gets you to do them as a very beautiful applique with a water-soluble backing, with a felt underneath, so that when you cut them out, you have a very lovely crisp edge, which will look beautiful on your fall wreath for you. What we wanted to do is, because we wanted to make it ready for the table, instead of using the water-soluble backing, we have gone directly onto the fabric and we're going to cut it away. So what you're seeing actually stitching here is a layer of the beautiful top fabric. In between, there is a layer of bamboo batting. You could use other kinds of batting, but what you want to try and do is use one that doesn't have too much loft. So we're looking for something that is a little bit dense and not too fluffy, because if it's too fluffy and you're going to cut this out, it's going to look messy on the table. So not too much loft. You could also use one of the iron-on battings as well. And then we have also slid the same as the top fabric on the underneath as well. And as it's stitching out, we're stitching out the veins outline. So what we did was we took out one of the applique steps, which is inside that Academy class. Now, you totally could do it the way the Academy class has done, with the very beautiful finish with the water soluble. But if you wanted to make it a little bit speedier and possibly just sort of speed that up, this is another way you can do it. So we've gone all the way through. I'm going to say a shout out to Wes. Hi Wes, I've just noticed your name pop up. Wes is a very popular and very prolific commentator in our Hatch Facebook user group, and he always comes in with the really great information, and he does a mean patch. So if you are really wanting some extra information about patches and badges, Wes is always in the group just giving out really great advice. So thanks so much for that, Wes. We really appreciate seeing your work there. And there's been more than once where we've come into the office in the morning and we're like, did you see what Wes did last night? That was fantastic. So thanks for that. All right, so back to our stitching. So here we're stitching through all of those layers all together. And as you can see, we've gone from the red fabric and now we're doing the yellow ones. I can't even remember how many stitch outs we actually did. If you're working on a smaller hoop, you can also do these individually. If you are going to do them individually, give yourself lots of time because you're going to need a fair few depending on the size of your actual table. So if you're working on individuals, plan out a day or two of stitching. If you're lucky enough to have a big hoop, put in as many as you can into the one hoop and make sure that it works. Okay, so as you're stitching through, what we were looking for was this is actually a quilting cotton on the top, so it's a nice dense fabric. I wouldn't recommend this project for using with something like a hessian or a burlap or anything like that, because we do have that wadding in underneath. We want it to be quite dense so that the wadding doesn't show through. You could do it without the wadding, but with the wadding, it does give the leaves a very lovely textural kind of finish, which is really quite fun and makes them look lovely and puffy when they're on the table, and just gives your tablescape a little bit more of a sort of decorative kind of feel to it. So that's the stitch out. You've all stitched before. I'm sure this is what you're going, but what we have done is we have just taken the rules and ideas that are all laid out step by step in that class in the Academy, which you will find under projects, and it is the full reef class. And then we have just repurposed it into something else. Once we have gone from all of that lovely stitching, we have then gone to actually cutting them out. So on our cutouts, sorry, I have to move. I'm operating with my Stream Deck and I looked down, I was like, where is it? Okay, so with the cutting out, here I am actually just using a pair of duck-billed scissors. So duck-billed scissors are fantastic for anyone who wants to do applique, and they are really, really great for cutting around curves. So they're well worth the investment. They're not super expensive, but what they'll let you do is, because of that extra duck section, so the bill section on the underblade, it allows you to cut around the curves without cutting into the underneath fabric, which is also really fantastic for when you're cutting applique away when it's in the hoop. You can actually just lift up the fabric, slide in your blades, keep that extra protector next to the stabilizer, and cut all the way around it. So they're really great little tools. You could also use a very small rotary cutter and go around it. You could also use your regular scissors as well, but in terms of ease of usage, I found that the duckbill scissors were fantastic and certainly very easy on your hands because it didn't feel like you were cutting out a lot of the things. So once we Okay, sorry about that, everyone. I think we've had a little pause in the chat. Hopefully that chat comes back up for you all. I do apologize. I just got an error message on mine. So don't forget, the Hatch Academy is available on both iPhone and Google Play. So you can also travel with your Academy anywhere you want. Okay, hopefully the chat is back up again. Do dive in and ask any questions and see if you've got anything. I am just going to restart my chat window. So that will be just 1 second of you can admire our lovely wall for a moment. Hopefully that all works. I'm just getting it a nice little spinning wheel as that restarts for us all there. So that looks like it is now working. Jump into the chat, ask away with our questions, and we will continue on from there. So once we had ended up with our pile of leaves, I then started to assemble them on my home sewing machine. What I did just on my regular domestic is that I actually pushed the two edges together and I just zigzagged over them. It was super easy, and I just, wherever there was like contact points is where I pushed it together and zigzagged it. Now, I actually used a water-soluble thread for this. I was hoping that the water-soluble thread would be a little bit more see-through than it actually is, because on the actual spool of thread, it actually looks completely see-through. The reason I use the water-soluble thread is it means that once we have used this for our tablescape, if we wish to reconfigure our leaves and make a different banner, turn it into something else, or just have a lovely bowl filled with leaves, it means we can either just dampen down where those stitches are, and it will actually just go through the whole thing and you end up with your leaves again. So if you ever need to sort of strong but temporary adhesion of two pieces, a wash away thread is a really great idea, so that's a good one. So Gail is asking about what type of stabilizer did we use. I actually didn't use any stabilizer at all on this project, because what I wanted to do is I wanted to keep that lovely puffiness of the fabrics together. So it was fabric, batting, fabric, really tightly hooped in. And what that does is it gives that lovely kind of, if anyone's a quilter, I'm sure we've definitely got some quilters in the chat. Once you've made your quilt and then you push, put it through the wash, you get that lovely crinkle. It gives that crinkle. So it's a really great way to do it. Now, not using stabilizer is normally not recommended, as we all know, but there are some projects where you can actually get away with that. Atlas is being blown away in the chat about wash away thread. It is a really fantastic tool if you need to sew together things that you then need to disassemble later, and it is a really nice thing. It leaves things a little gummy, for want of a better word, but what you just want to make sure is once you've dampened it down, I normally just brush it away with a nice damp cloth, and then it leaves it nice and clean. So maybe not for your best silk, but for other fabrics, definitely, for sure. Gail is a fan of the wash away thread. She says she uses it all of the time too. What are you using yours for, Gail? Are you using mainly for basting or for holding things together? Let us know. So what you'll find is anytime you see a project in the Academy, if you like the technique, you can apply that technique to anything else that you want. So as I was stitching this out yesterday, I was thinking, you know, if I wanted to use this technique, but maybe I wanted to apply it to a different shape, I would look at doing things like maybe a pumpkin or a bat or a cat, and then I would have a fall and Halloween themed collection of things to put together. But you could use the exact same techniques which are laid out inside that project class to go to other things. So always think about how you can use those same techniques which are being taught inside the Academy for your other projects, because it's a really great way to extend your knowledge and keep using things away. Now, speaking of the Academy, there's a couple of fun things that have come up in the Academy this week. But one of the things I wanted to talk about was all of our downloads for all of our projects that we talk about here in our live streams. So last week, people were saying that they'd missed some of the emails and they hadn't got all of their projects. So we have created something for them. All right, in the chat, people are saying they use their wash away thread for sewing on binding on the back side of a quilt. That's a really good idea. That would save so much time. And Gail uses it for using wash away stabilizer, so she doesn't have to throw it away. She stitches it back together with a patchwork style. I love that idea, because then you're not wasting any of your extra stabilizer, and sometimes stabilizer is really expensive. So that's a really great way to use that. All right, so if we're looking for our downloads for any of our live streams, we pop onto the Academy, and inside the Academy, once you are logged in, scroll all the way down, keep going, keep going. So once we reach down the bottom, you'll actually see there's now in the bottom bar, there's a little live streams tab. You can click on that, and there it starts to pop up all of our live streams that you've all been joining in so well in our chats. But what you'll see next to them now is there's a little download button. So if within that live stream I showed you a project, you can now go here and download the files for that project for yourselves. So it just means that anytime you need anything, you can jump into the Academy and grab those files for all of those projects for you there. So that's a really great way to you know, anything we've shown, you can go and grab those for you. Now, anything which would, so today's is not a new project because it is a reuse of one from within inside the Academy. But anytime we show you something new, it would be a couple of hours afterwards that would then be available inside the Academy. The reason it's not going to be straight away is because it's a direct link to the YouTube, and YouTube normally takes a couple of hours to process for it to join through. So once that processing is in, that link happens, and then you'll be able to get your downloads. So I always think if you watch this, if you're here in Australia, if you watch this in the morning, it'll be available by the next day. Okay, so that's pretty fun. And then some other things that we have been working on this month. Now, obviously, this is a project and an idea that is dear to many people's hearts, as many people have been affected by cancer. The project class set up in the Academy shows you how to do mask and reveal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the overview, and you'll actually be able to hear all about what's happening in the class.
Mask and Reveal is a creative hatch that transforms simple shapes into stunning embroidery.
I can't hear the sound.
You'll learn how to fill shapes with themed artwork, combine backgrounds, awareness ribbon with a collage of roses. A project with powerful meaning and countless uses. You'll see how easy it is to design pieces that surprise and delight every time. Join us in Hatch Academy for the Mask and Reveal course and unlock a new level of beauty.
Doesn't that look like a really great class? It's really wonderful in the way that it shows you how to combine and then mask and reveal certain ribbons which are available and how they are all different colors. So using the same ribbon, you could stitch it out in different colors, and it represents many different kinds of cancers. With a particular charity group, you have sort of going through all of that. It's a really be able to do those types of designs with the actual stitching as well. Now, my chat has once again crashed today. We are filled with all the gremlins today. I'm going to restart it and see what I can do there. What I'm going to do while I restart that, don't forget, if you are a very visual learner and you like to have a little book that you can actually make notes in, there is always the Hatch user guide available for you. Now, the user guide is a print-on-demand piece which you will be able to order from your local Amazon. When you're ordering it from Amazon, always be sure to order it from your local Amazon and not the regular Amazon, otherwise you might get charged a huge amount of shipping. Sorry, I'm sounding a little distracted because my chat is not coming back up, which is a little frustrating for me. All right. We're going to keep trying on this and see what happens. Hey, looks like we're getting there. Okay. Sorry for the problems today, folks. I know it's always really frustrating when you've made time out of your day to come and see us and have a chat, and then it all goes wrong on our end. We do apologize. We try so hard to make it run nice and smoothly, but unfortunately, when it comes down to the actual stream, I don't have control over that one, unfortunately. So we're going to keep trying. Now, don't forget, we do have in the room here, we have so if anyone wants to ask any specific digitizing questions, it's a really great day to jump in and ask the extra questions. So I'm going to leave the chat open so that we've got some extra things happening. Now, I'm actually just going to show you again how to find the project that we worked on today in the Academy, because I saw one pop up where someone's like, oh, where was that again? Yes, scale technology is really good, but also frustrating. I completely agree with that today. All right, so if we want to find the wreath on the Academy, the one that we took all of our information from today, I'm going to show you how to get through to there again. So on the Academy, scroll down, go to your projects and click on your projects tab. And then once you're on your projects tab, you can now see that top one is our mask and reveal one for breast cancer awareness, which is coming up in October, as I said. And then we're going to scroll on down until we find our lovely fall wreath. And that's it. And then we're just looking at all of our curriculum. But what it does is it means that you can go in and have a look, and all of the information about all of the digitizing that we actually did is all there in that class for you. So you can just follow along and use that. As I said, you could easily turn it into a Halloween inspired thing. So you could add some pumpkins, you could add some cats, you could add some bats. There's lots of different ones you could do. As I was stitching out yesterday, I was like, oh, this would be so pretty if you did it for the springtime and you had like sakura blossoms, so the pink cherry blossoms. Like we've just had blossom time here in Australia, so it's been super pretty, which has been really, really nice there as well. Okay, does anyone have any last questions? It looks like we've run a little early today because all of our technology challenges have held us up a little bit, but if you've got any extra questions, please jump on in and ask us. And for anyone who maybe joined us a little late, here is what we've been talking about today. It is our table runner, which we have made with our fall leaves. With our fall leaves, you could also do this if you were trying to use up your scraps. So as many of us always know, you end up with an enormous stash of fabrics and trims and accessories. So if you do have a large quilting stash, you could actually make this with many different kinds of fabrics as well. I didn't have many autumnal tones, so I did actually go out and get some specifically for this. But if you are someone who is using a lot of those autumn tones, you could totally use them for that kind of things as well. Or like I said, if you're doing a spring themed one, you could do an entire green section, or you could apply it to many different designs as well. I recently had a friend whose son had a birthday and it was dinosaur themed, and I'm like, how cool would it have been if you actually had stitched out dinosaurs? So you can apply the same idea to any kind of shape, and all of that information is there inside the Academy. All right, well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us in the chat. I do apologize again that the chat dropped out a few times. That is always not fun at all. It's been a great week here for all of the live streams. I'm going to see you again. Our next live stream is going to be Halloween inspired, so you won't want to miss that one at all. It's going to be lots of fun. All right, I'll see you guys in 2 weeks' time. Thanks so much.